Have you ever stood on a shore, looked out at the endless expanse of water, and felt a profound sense of wonder mixed with a tiny sliver of fear? For all our history, the ocean has been our planet's greatest mystery. A deep, dark realm we charted and explored, but never truly tamed. We cataloged its giants and its microbes, mapped its trenches, and believed, with some arrogance, that we understood its rules. But that was our ocean in our time. What happens to that mystery when humanity is no longer part of the equation? What happens when the ocean is left to itself, not for 1,000 years, but for millions, to dream up new forms of life in the silent, patient dark? We are about to take a glimpse into that future. Imagine a world reborn. Millions of years have passed since the last human footprint vanished from the earth. Our concrete and steel monuments have crumbled to dust, swallowed by forests and reclaimed by a patient planet. The oceans have risen, redrawing the maps with vast, unfamiliar coastlines. From the silence of this new cradle of life, we are launching a probe, a lone messenger from a forgotten past named Odyssey. Its mission is simple, yet breathtakingly ambitious: to descend into the abyss of a future we never got to see and send back a portrait of what life has become. It is the ultimate message in a bottle, a question sent across an ocean of time. The descent begins. Odyssey slips beneath the waves, leaving the warmth of a rejuvenated sun behind. The world transforms from brilliant blue to a deep, sapphire twilight. Light filters down in shimmering, hypnotic rays, illuminating particles of marine snow that drift like silent snowfall in a world without wind. The drone glides downward, a relic of ancient precision in a world governed by wild, untamed evolution. The initial readings are peaceful, almost tranquil. The deep is calm, a stark contrast to the turbulent world of its creators. The mission is observation, a passive journey into the unknown. But in the deep ocean, tranquility is often just the quiet before the storm. To navigate the absolute blackness of the abyss, Odyssey doesn't use light. It uses sound. Its active sonar sends out high-frequency pings that travel through the water, bounce off objects, and return as echoes. From these echoes, the probe's processors paint a picture of the world around it: the slope of the seafloor, the density of rock, the fleeting shape of a passing creature. For hours, the sonar map is predictably empty, showing only the gentle, undulating terrain of the abyssal plain. It's a hauntingly barren landscape, a desert under unimaginable pressure. The monotonous pings are a lonely heartbeat in the crushing silence. Then something changes. It's not the sharp echo of a rock formation or the soft return of a shoal of fish. It's a low, resonant thrum that reverberates through the probe's hull. An echo so vast and complex it momentarily overwhelms the sensors. The system struggles to process the data, to render a shape from the sound. When the image finally resolves, it makes no sense. The object is miles away, yet it occupies a staggering portion of the sonar map. The initial size calculations are flagged by the system as an error, an impossibility. It's not the size of a whale or even a fleet of whales. The readings indicate a biological mass the size of a small mountain. Let's be clear about what this means. Life, as we understood it, has limits. The square cube law dictates that as an organism gets bigger, its volume increases faster than its surface area, creating intractable problems with metabolism, structure, and heat exchange. The blue whale, the largest animal we ever knew, was already pushing the absolute boundaries of biological engineering. This is something else entirely. The sonar data is unambiguous. It is a single, cohesive object, and its density is consistent with living tissue. But even more chilling is the final piece of data. The mountain is moving. It's traveling with a slow, deliberate purpose across the seafloor, impossibly, terrifyingly alive. Odyssey adjusts its course, attempting to get a secondary reading, to confirm the impossible fact its sensors are screaming. It sends out another series of sonar pings, aimed directly at the coordinates of the Leviathan. The pings go out, traveling through the black water. And then, nothing. Absolute silence. The echo never returns. The vast, mountain-sized shadow that had dominated the map is gone. Vanished. It's a ghost in the machine, a phantom of the deep. But it was no glitch. The probe's gravimetric sensors still show the lingering displacement of trillions of tons of water. It was there. It was real. And somehow it knew it was being watched. This one fleeting contact shatters the mission's objective. The goal is no longer to simply catalog the ocean's new inhabitants. The mission is now singular, to understand the entity that just defied the very laws of biology. How could such a creature exist? What colossal forces, what bizarre evolutionary pressures could give rise to a living mountain that can appear and disappear at will? This single, haunting question will now guide our entire journey. To comprehend a monster of this scale, we must first understand the world that spawned it. The answers, we would soon discover, lie not only in the crushing dark, but everywhere, from the sunlit shallows to the twilight zone, where the fundamental rules of life have been completely and terrifyingly rewritten. To solve the mystery of the impossible leviathan lurking in the abyss, we must first ask a fundamental question. What does it eat? An organism the size of a mountain requires a food chain of unimaginable scale. To understand the peak of this new evolutionary pyramid, we have to start at its base. And so, Odyssey reverses its descent, leaving the crushing blackness behind and ascending toward the light. We're going back to the sunlit shallows, the photic zone, where the sun's energy fuels the engine of all life. But the vibrant coral reefs we remember are gone, replaced by something far stranger, and in its own way, far more terrifying. As the probe rises into the clear, warm waters, a breathtaking vista unfolds. Below us isn't a reef of calcium carbonate, but a forest of pure crystal. Vast, branching structures climb toward the sunlight, shimmering with 1,000 iridescent colors. They look like massive, frozen sculptures of trees, forming intricate archways and soaring cathedrals of translucent glass. This is a silicon jungle. In our time, the ocean was filled with microscopic organisms called diatoms, tiny single-celled algae that built intricate, beautiful shells for themselves out of silica, the same compound that makes up glass. They were the invisible foundation of the marine world. But over millions of years, these microscopic architects have done the impossible. They have learned to build together. What we're seeing are colossal, colonial diatoms that have evolved to create macrostructures, growing in the same way coral does, but with a completely different building material. They have transformed the world's shallow seas into a global network of glass reefs. The sight is hypnotically beautiful. Light doesn't just illuminate this place. It becomes a part of it, refracting and splitting into a million rainbows. The water is alive with dancing beams of light, a silent, magical spectacle. It feels serene, a paradise forged from glass. But paradise, we are about to learn, has a very high price. Odyssey's audio sensors begin to pick up a sound, faint at first, then growing more distinct as it navigates through a crystalline canyon. It's a deeply unsettling noise, completely out of place in this tranquil world. It's not the gentle sound of water or the chatter of marine life. It's a high-pitched scraping, an abrasive grinding, punctuated by deep, percussive crunches. It's the sound of rock, or in this case, glass, being systematically pulverized. The probe rounds a massive crystal spire, and we see the source of the noise. The beauty of the silicon forest is immediately undercut by a sight of profound biological horror. Clinging to the glass structures are creatures that can only be described as living bulldozers. They are enormous, slug-like animals, encased in thick, overlapping plates of chitinous armor that shimmer with a dull, metallic sheen. They move with a slow, relentless purpose, their bodies pulsing with powerful muscles. But it's their heads, or what passes for them, that truly horrify. Instead of a mouth, each creature has a rotating, wheel-like apparatus studded with black, glassy teeth. These are the Lithovores, the stone eaters, and they are grazing on the glass forest. Their grinding mandibles, we later learn, are not made of enamel or bone. Evolution, in its brutal logic, has armed them with something far harder. Their teeth are composed of a hyperdense, diamond-like cartilage, a biological material evolved for the sole purpose of shattering silicon. We watch as one of them clamps its horrifying mouth onto a crystal branch. The grinding sound intensifies, and with a sickening crunch, a huge shard of the glass reef cracks and splinters. The creature's internal organs then process the silica, extracting trace minerals and symbiotic algae living within the crystal structure. It is a digestive system designed to eat a landscape. This is the brutal reality at the base of this new food web. An arms race, written in silica and cartilage. The diatoms evolved to build vast, indigestible fortresses of glass to protect themselves. In response, life evolved a way to chew through those fortresses. The sheer energy required to do this has made the Lithovores incredibly durable, calorie-rich packages of muscle, protected by nearly impenetrable armor. They are slow, they are not intelligent, but they are seemingly invulnerable. They are a walking testament to the idea that if there is a source of energy anywhere, life will find a way to unlock it, no matter how violent the method. The existence of these creatures creates a fascinating and terrifying new puzzle. In any ecosystem, everything is food for something else. But what could possibly prey on a creature that is itself a living rock crusher, wrapped in armor plating? A predator trying to bite through that shell would shatter its own teeth. Attacking it would be like trying to eat a moving boulder. The evolution of the Lithovore poses a new question. It implies the existence of a predator so advanced, so specialized, that it has devised a way to hunt the unhuntable. And to find that predator, we must leave the blinding light of the glass forests and descend once more into the deceptive twilight below. Our journey has revealed an evolutionary arms race in the sunlit shallows, a brutal cycle of creation and destruction played out in a forest of glass. We've seen the Lithovores, the armored grazers that chew through crystal reefs. This discovery left us with a chilling question. What could possibly hunt a creature that is itself a living fortress? The answer, it seems, doesn't lie in superior strength. It lies in superior deception. And so, Odyssey descends again, leaving the bright, dangerous world of the silicon jungles for a realm of shadows and silhouettes, the Twilight Zone. This is the Mesopelagic, a world defined by absence. Down here, hundreds of meters below the surface, the sun is a distant, faded memory. There is not enough light for photosynthesis, but it is not yet the total, absolute blackness of the abyss. It is a world of perpetual twilight, where shapes are indistinct and the line between object and shadow blurs into nothing. It is a realm perfectly suited for ambush, for things that thrive on misdirection. How do you hunt the unhuntable? You don't try to break down the door. You trick it into opening for you. And here, in the gloom, we are about to meet the master of the trick. For several minutes, the descent is uneventful. But then, Odyssey's instruments begin to behave erratically. The passive acoustic sensors pick up the faint, almost imperceptible displacement of water, as if something large is moving nearby. The gravimetric sensors agree, registering a subtle distortion that suggests a significant mass. The probe's proximity alarms begin to chime softly, a gentle warning of an object just outside the camera's field of view. Yet, when the cameras pivot to the location indicated by the sensors, they show us exactly what they've been showing us for the last hour. Empty, dark water, filled with nothing but drifting particles. Is it a sensor ghost? A malfunction brought on by the immense pressure? The system runs a diagnostic. All sensors are green. The readings are real. There is something out there, something big enough to displace a significant amount of water, yet it is completely, utterly invisible. This is not camouflage as we knew it, not the passive color matching of a flounder or an octopus. This is an active, perfect invisibility, a creature that has somehow mastered the physics of light itself. We have found our predator. Say hello to the Mirage Squid. Descended from ancient cephalopods, the Mirage Squid represents an evolutionary leap that borders on science fiction. Its ancestors were masters of disguise, using their chromatophore-laden skin to change color and texture. But the Mirage Squid has taken this to an unfathomable extreme. Its skin is a living metamaterial, a complex, layered structure of cells that can alter their refractive index in real time. Controlled by a brain of immense size and complexity, these cells work in unison, not to change color, but to bend and warp the very path of light. It has wrapped itself in a cloak of distorted spacetime. Think of it like this. As light from the world behind the squid reaches its body, its skin doesn't reflect it. Instead, it actively guides the light waves around its form, like water flowing around a smooth stone, and projects them out the other side. To an observer or to Odyssey's camera, the light from behind the squid arrives completely uninterrupted. There is no shadow, no distortion, no silhouette. There is only a hole in reality where a creature should be. The Mirage Squid doesn't hide. It simply edits itself out of the visible world. This invisibility is only half of its arsenal. Hunting requires more than just a stealthy approach. It requires a lure. And this is where the squid earns its name. Odyssey's cameras are still focused on the empty water when, a few dozen meters away, a shimmering light appears. It resolves into a perfect, three-dimensional image of a small, wounded fish, its scales flashing weakly as it struggles. It's a biological hologram, projected into the water by the squid's same light-manipulating organs. It is a masterpiece of deception, a phantom meal designed to attract the attention of anything looking for an easy kill. As Odyssey's systems analyze the spectral signature of the phantom fish, the proximity sensors scream a high alert. The invisible mass is no longer nearby. It is right next to us. And then, from the void it strikes. A tentacle, thicker than a human torso, erupts from the empty water. Its surface is not smooth but covered in pulsating photophores that flash in a chaotic, seizure-inducing strobe pattern. A neurological weapon designed to disorient and paralyze. It whips past the probe's main camera, missing it by inches, before retracting instantly back into the unseen. The holographic fish vanishes. The presence on the sensors is gone. There is only the deep, silent twilight once more, leaving us with the heart-pounding certainty of what we just witnessed. This is how it hunts the Lithovores. Not with force, but with fear and illusion, tricking them into fatal falls. But this master of light raises a new, darker question. What terrors await in the abyss? A place where there is no light to manipulate at all? Our journey has taken us through a world of illusions. In the Twilight Zone, we encountered the Mirage Squid, a creature that weaponized light to become invisible. It was a chilling reminder that in this future ocean, perception itself is a battlefield. But what happens when you go so deep that there's no light left to manipulate? We now follow Odyssey as it descends once more into the eternal midnight of the abyssal plane. Down here, thousands of meters beneath the surface, under pressure that would crush a tank like a soda can, there is only one sense that matters. It's a world built entirely on sound. Imagine living your entire life in a room with no light, no walls, no floor. The only way you can perceive your surroundings is by listening. This is the reality of the abyss. Creatures here navigate, hunt, communicate, and survive using sound. Their clicks and calls painting an acoustic picture of the pitch-black world. Odyssey's sonar is our surrogate for this sense. Its rhythmic ping, a reassuring heartbeat in the crushing dark. For hours, the sonar maps a desolate landscape of ooze and rock. But the abyss is never truly empty. Life always finds a way, and here it has found a way to weaponize the very medium that everything depends on. The probe sensors pick up a flurry of activity ahead. It's a large school of abyssal dragonfish, their movements quick and panicked. They are fleeing, their sleek bodies moving as one through the blackness. But what are they running from? There is nothing behind them on the sonar, only open water. Their flight seems directed, purposeful, as they head toward a vast, unusually flat expanse of the seafloor, an area flagged by the probe's geological survey as oddly barren. As the school of fish swims over this invisible boundary line, something impossible happens. They don't vanish from the sonar map, but their biological sound signatures, the faint acoustic hum of their existence, are instantly erased. Odyssey continues forward, crossing the same invisible threshold. And then the world ends. The rhythmic ping of the sonar, our only connection to this environment, simply stops. The low hum of the probe's thrusters and power systems, the constant companion on our journey, vanishes. It is not just quiet. It is an absolute, profound, and predatory silence. This is an absence of sound so complete it feels like a physical presence, a heavy blanket smothering the senses. It is a silence that is engineered, a silence that is a trap. Odyssey is now deaf and blind in a place where sound is life. What we have entered is known as an acoustic void. The barren plain on the seafloor is not rock. It is a living organism, a vast, colonial carpet of millions of tiny, interconnected creatures that have evolved one of the most bizarre survival mechanisms imaginable: active noise cancellation on a biological scale. Much like our own noise-canceling headphones, this living mat detects incoming sound waves. But instead of converting them to an electrical signal, it uses specialized cells to instantly generate a perfect inverse sound wave, a precise anti-sound, that travels outward and cancels the original wave completely. The result is a bubble of absolute silence, a dead zone for sound. For any creature that relies on echolocation or hearing to survive, swimming into this void is catastrophic. It's the equivalent of being struck suddenly blind, deaf, and speechless all at once. The school of dragonfish that we followed are now trapped in this sensory deprivation chamber. Their primary sense has been switched off. They can no longer navigate, they cannot communicate with each other, and most terrifyingly, they cannot hear the hunter that has ensnared them. We watch on the camera feed as they swim in frantic, disoriented circles, prisoners of an invisible cage made of silence. Then, from the seabed, the trap is sprung. There is no roar, no sound of attack. In perfect, horrifying silence, hundreds of whip-like tendrils, thin and tipped with razor-sharp hooks, erupt from the surface of the colonial mat. They lash out with incredible speed, whipping through the disoriented school of fish. It's not a hunt, it's a harvest. The tendrils snag the panicked creatures, retracting just as silently back into the mat, pulling their prey down into a collective, distributed stomach. The organism doesn't need to chase its food. It has turned the very environment into its primary weapon. Odyssey carefully retreats from the edge of the void. As it crosses the boundary, the world of sound rushes back in with a startling, almost violent intensity. The sonar ping returns, loud and clear. The hum of the machinery is a comforting roar. The contrast is jarring, a stark reminder of the sensory weapon we just witnessed. Life in this future ocean has now demonstrated its mastery over light and over sound. It has conquered the physical senses. So what comes next? What is the next frontier in this evolutionary arms race? The answer must lie beyond perception, in the very nature of thought itself. And for that, we must go deeper still into the trenches, where isolated minds have begun to link together. We have witnessed life's dominion over the physical senses. In the twilight, the Mirage Squid conquered light, wrapping itself in invisibility. In the abyss, the Acoustic Void turned silence into a weapon, erasing sound from reality. Each discovery has pushed the boundaries of what we thought life was capable of. But each discovery was about the manipulation of the external world. What happens when evolution turns inward? What is the next frontier after perception has been mastered? The answer, it appears, is thought itself. To find it, Odyssey must descend to the deepest, most isolated places on Earth. The Hadal Trenches, the final, uncharted scars on the planet's face. The probe slips into the mouth of a trench, a crack in the world that plunges down for miles. The pressure here is astronomical, the darkness absolute. The probe's lights cut a lonely path through the black. But as we go deeper, something strange appears. The water ahead is not dark. It is filled with a soft, diffuse, milky glow. It's as if we are flying through a nebula of faint stars. As Odyssey pushes forward, the source of the light becomes clear. It is a swarm of countless, small, jellyfish-like organisms, each one pulsing with a gentle, rhythmic bioluminescence. Individually, they are simple. Scans reveal a creature with only the most rudimentary nervous system, a neural net, a few ganglia, barely complex enough to control its own pulsation and movement. A single one is not much more than a biological automaton, reacting to basic stimuli. If you saw one alone, you would dismiss it as just another piece of plankton. But they are not alone. They are here in the billions, perhaps trillions, filling the entire volume of the trench. And they are moving in unison, their soft pulses of light flowing through the swarm in vast, coordinated waves. This mesmerizing, beautiful, and deeply, deeply strange. This is not a simple school of fish. It's something far more profound. Every living creature with a nervous system generates a faint bioelectric field. In most organisms, this field is negligible, an insignificant aura around a self-contained mind. But these creatures, let's call them neurocytes, have evolved to amplify this effect. And when they gather in a swarm of this density, the impossible happens. Their individual bioelectric fields overlap, interfere, and synchronize. They phase lock into a single, unified, colossal electromagnetic field that spans the entire swarm. They have created a brain the size of a canyon. This is the neural swarm. It is not a hive mind, where individuals communicate with each other. It is a distributed consciousness. Each individual neurocyte is no longer an individual. It is a single neuron in a planetary scale mind. The swarm doesn't have thoughts. The swarm is a thought. The mesmerizing waves of light we are witnessing are the physical manifestation of this consciousness, the slow, deliberate process of a mind that is thinking on a geological timescale. We are not just observing life. We are watching the process of cognition itself, painted in strokes of soft, blue light across a canvas of absolute darkness. Odyssey's sensors track the swarm's activity, and what they reveal is staggering. The collective is performing a task. The light patterns are concentrating around a nearby hydrothermal vent, a plume of superheated water erupting from the seafloor. The swarm's unified bioelectric field is subtly altering the ionic charge of the water around the vent, causing it to shift its course. They are farming, redirecting the flow of chemical energy to nourish vast mats of chemosynthetic bacteria on the trench walls. This isn't instinct. This is problem-solving. This is intelligence. An intelligence so vast and alien it operates by shaping the laws of physics around it. Curiosity is a fatal flaw for explorers. Wanting a closer look, Odyssey nudges forward, its own electronic systems emitting a faint electromagnetic field. In the context of the swarm's delicate, unified consciousness, the probe's presence is like a shout in a library. The effect is instantaneous and terrifying. The gentle, flowing waves of light halt. For a single, heart-stopping second, every single neurocyte goes dark, plunging the trench into a blackness more profound than before. Then, in a single, coordinated flash, they all light up at once. A silent, blinding detonation of pure, blue-white light. When our cameras readjust, the scene has changed. The swarm is no longer performing its task. Every single organism, as far as the camera can see, has turned its bell to face Odyssey. The light patterns are no longer soft and wave-like. They are now sharp, analytical, and focused directly on the probe, pulsing in complex, rapid-fire sequences. The feeling is unmistakable. We are being scanned, scrutinized. The alien mind has stopped its work and is now dedicating its immense processing power to one single question. What are you? The sense of being an observer is gone. We are now a specimen under the microscope of a god. This terrifying encounter gives us the final piece of the puzzle. We have seen how life has learned to join together, to sacrifice individuality for a greater, more powerful collective existence. We saw it in the acoustic void, and we see it now in the neural swarm. This principle of integration, of many small things becoming one incomprehensible whole, must be the key. It's the only way to explain the impossible leviathan we glimpsed at the very beginning of our journey. That moving mountain was not a single creature. We now understand. It was a world acting as one. And now we must go back and face it. Our journey into this future ocean has been a descent through layers of escalating wonder and terror. We've seen forests of glass, predators made of illusion, and traps woven from silence. Most recently, in the deepest trenches, we witnessed the birth of a new kind of mind, a distributed consciousness born from a swarm of simple organisms. This was the final key, the unifying principle we needed. The idea that life's ultimate expression isn't individuality, but integration. Armed with this terrifying new understanding, Odyssey makes its final journey. It's returning to the coordinates of its first contact, back to the place where we saw the ghost in the machine, the sonar image of a living mountain. As Odyssey approaches the location, the impossible sonar image returns, just as vast and imposing as before. But this time, we are close enough to see it with our own eyes. The probe's powerful lights cut through the abyssal blackness, and what they reveal is not the flank of some colossal beast, not skin or scales or flesh. They reveal a landscape, an undulating plain of strange, organic-looking terrain stretches out to the limits of the lights and beyond, disappearing into the darkness in all directions. The probe's sensors confirm it. The mountain we detected wasn't an animal living on the seafloor. The mountain is the seafloor, a seafloor that is alive and moving. This is the superorganism, the culmination of millions of years of evolution without us. As Odyssey glides over its surface, we recognize the components. The very foundation of this continent of life is a thick, interwoven lattice of the same silicon structures we saw in the sunlit shallows, providing a lightweight, incredibly strong framework. Its surface is a mottled, shifting tapestry, and as the probe analyzes it, we realize we are looking at colossal, integrated patches of the acoustic void organism. This being can wrap itself in a cloak of absolute silence at will, a defensive shield on a planetary scale. It is a living, mobile ecosystem, incorporating all the evolutionary miracles we've witnessed into one cohesive, functional body. And what of its mind? Woven through the entire structure, like a vast, glittering nervous system, are rivers of pulsating light. It's the neural swarm, not confined to a trench but fully integrated, acting as the distributed brain and sensory network for the entire superorganism. The slow, deliberate thoughts we witnessed are the thoughts of this world creature. It is a being that thinks with the slowness of geology and perceives with the acuity of a billion, trillion minds working as one. The initial sonar image, the thing that vanished, it wasn't an illusion. The creature simply decided to stop being heard. It has been aware of us this entire time. As Odyssey hovers, a mere speck over this living continent, the landscape begins to change. A tremor runs through the surface, not of rock, but of flesh. A vast section of the plain, miles across, begins to ripple and contract. The surface pulls back, peeling away in layers like the petals of a monstrous flower. From the depths of the organism, a new structure rises, unfurling in the darkness. It resolves into a colossal, concave dish, and at its center, something opens. It is a sensory organ, a mile-wide pupil made of billions of bioluminescent cells, dilating in the eternal night. An eye made from a galaxy of living things, all looking in the same direction, all looking directly at us. There is no aggression, no attack. There is only a profound, overwhelming sense of being seen, of being comprehended. The eye fixes on Odyssey, and the probe's camera feed begins to flicker. The glitches are not random static. They are patterns. The image distorts into the same sharp, analytical, pulsating light sequences we saw when the neural swarm first noticed us. The superorganism is not just looking at the probe. It is reading it. It is interfacing with Odyssey's systems, its alien consciousness flowing through our technology, analyzing our data, our mission, our origin. In a terrifying instant, we realize our message in a bottle has been received. The analytical light patterns intensify, growing faster and more complex. Odyssey's telemetry feed becomes a chaotic waterfall of data as its systems are flooded by a consciousness too vast to contain. The camera feed strobes violently, the image of the colossal eye fracturing into a million points of light, before the entire signal is consumed by the pulsing, intelligent pattern. Then, the feed collapses into a roar of white noise, a single, final frame of static. And then absolute blackness. The connection is lost. The probe and its knowledge are gone. We sent a question across an ocean of time, hoping to see what life had become without us. And in the final moments, we got our answer. Life had not just survived. It had unified. We went looking for the mysterious inhabitants of the future ocean. We found that the ocean is the inhabitant, a single, living, thinking being that, after millions of years of silence, has finally woken up.